Hi, I'm Rachel, and this is my final Friday Reads video for 2018. This might be one of my videos that devolves into more rambling than I've been doing of late because I just recently learned that Israeli writer Amos Oz has passed away after a brief stint with cancer. I haven't read a lot of Amos Oz's huge collection of works, although I've been slowly picking away at things here and there ever since I read his memoir autobiography, Tale of Love and Darkness, which was one of my favorite books of the year I read it. And now I own the Natalie Portman movie. And I tend to think about Oz a lot. I mean, out of all the authors who died this year, he's getting to me the most deeply. I think about Oz a lot, especially after reading some Jewish American male writers, and then I'll put down their dude bro books and sigh and think, why aren't you more like Amos Oz? Oz was a writer who wrote and believed empathetically. I read his novel Judas, which talked about the idea of traders seeing a larger picture. And I've read a couple of his short story collections, mostly having to do with life on the Israeli kibbutz. And I have one left on my shelves that I got from a used bookstore a couple years ago that I still have to read. And I've been thinking a lot about his most recent work, which was published this year and is now his swan song, nonfiction work called Dear Zealots, Letters from a Divided Land. I've seen that it's gotten a couple of negative reviews from left-leaning press, and I think it has to do with the fact that he's touting the line of wanting a democratic state, but also a Jewish state, and that stuck out to me too, because it's something that I see myself as also wanting for Israel, and so it's just stuck in my craw now about these ideas and what they mean, and how Oz puts them forth in his book, and if they could help me make sense of myself and my own beliefs. Anyway, it's something I've been thinking a lot about reading next year, so I'll probably get to it then. And beyond his books, Oz was known as a public figure for being a peacenik, for being someone who wanted reconciliation with the Palestinians and the two-state solution. And even just earlier this month, I was reading Killing a King about Yitzhak Rabin's assassination, and then it made me despondent just because both Rabin and Shimon Peres, who were major political figures advocating for peace, are both dead. And Amos Oz figured in this book as well because he was a friend of Peres, and now he's gone too, so I'm just very sad. Seems like a low way to end the year, really, but maybe that's why it's good to go back to reading, because Oz knew that reading helped give life and ideas meaning. So I will head into it now and talk about what I'm planning to read as I wrap up 2018 and move into 2019. I've still only made a small dent in this book. This is The Rag Race, How Jews Sewed Their Way to Success in America and the British Empire by Adam D. Mendelsohn. I had trouble with that name again. But anyway, I'm hoping to finish it this weekend, tomorrow even, now that I'm off work and away from family obligations. My big obligation is that I want to get my final Sammy Rohr video up before the end of the year, and this is the final book I have to read for it, so I'm hoping to read and review it and then get my video up by Sunday. But I want to squeeze another book into December. I'm hoping to, before the year closes out. I'm trying and hoping that I'm going to read 94 books this year, which will be my biggest number ever. And frankly, even though I have been improving year by year, I don't think I'm going to top this. For example, last year I read 10 books, or this year I read 10 books in January, and next year I'm planning 6, especially because some of them are longer titles. And I just don't want to push myself and stress myself out too much, so I'm going to start with a goal of 70 books per year. I think I'll get higher than that, but I'm not thinking 94 again. But for this year, I want to do 94, which will mean that I want to do a speed read through a novel, and I've decided for this one. This is The Hopefuls by Jennifer Close. I got it signed at the Gaithersburg Book Festival 2 years ago now. And I started this year reading the other book that I got signed at that festival, Sonora. So I thought that's part of the reason I'd love to read this book to end the year. And also because it's a lighthearted, witty novel I'm made to understand, at least in part, and it makes fun of Washington, D.C., which is where I work and I live right outside of, so I'm up for that. And finally, I know I won't be getting to this book this year. Alas, it wasn't meant to be, but I intend for it to be my first book of 2019. This is The Hefty, The Weight of Ink by Rachel Kadish. This one got a lot of accolades, and I will read from the flap. Set in London of the 1660s and of the early 21st century, The Weight of Ink is an interwoven tale of two women of remarkable intellect. Esther Velasquez, an immigrant from Amsterdam who is permitted to scribe for a blind rabbi just before the plague hits the city, and Helen Watt, an ailing historian with a love of Jewish history. As the novel opens, Helen has been summoned by a former student to view a cache of 17th century Jewish documents newly discovered in his home during a renovation. Enlisting the help of Aaron Levy, an American graduate student as impatient as he is charming, and in a race with another fast-moving team of historians, Helen embarks on one last project to determine the identity of the document's scribe, the elusive Aleph. Sweeping in scope and intimate in tone, The Weight of Ink is a sophisticated work of historical fiction about women separated by centuries and the choices and sacrifices they must make in order to reconcile the life of the heart and of the mind. So yeah, this has a lot to live up to, but I'm in love with the idea of this. I'm in love with the idea of the characters and the setting, and so just hoping it's going to be a great way to start the year. So that about covers it for me now. This is going to be one of my final videos of the year. I have 2 more planned though, and it's only so many days left in the year anyway. But anyway, I thought this would be a good time to reflect, as is the custom at the end of the year, and to say thank you. I am a very small BookTube channel that seems to be my way, but that doesn't stop me from getting likes on my videos and even from getting comments from people like you. And I just find that so wonderful and so touching, and thank you all so much for showing an interest. I'm so glad that I have something worthwhile to say in this community. I really love the community. I love watching other people's videos, and I hope to participate more in community events next year like I did with Steve Donahue's read-along a few months back. And hopefully another in-person meetup with Peg and Bill from Earnestly Eston. That would be so great. So I'm expecting great things for BookTube in 2019, and I hope you'll be along with me on the journey. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time.